Hi, everybody. This is May 1st. This is May Day. So when I was a kid, I remember they made a big deal about May Day, and so when I was a kid, what we would do is we would bring flowers to school, and the teachers would remind us to take flowers to our mothers, or maybe that was Mother's Day, but May Day was Flower Day, and so there were a lot of flowers in bloom. And being a young man who loved his mother, I would walk home from school picking little violets from people's lawns,
Yes, Mom.
and then I
Yeah.
would go down a little bit farther, and I would find people's tulips, and so I'd grab some of those, maybe break some lilacs off of branches or somebody's roses, and so I would come home with this enormous bouquet of flowers that I had stolen from everybody else's yards, not realizing I was stealing them, just joyful that they were there so I could take home a bouquet of flowers to my mom. And then she'd say, "Where did you get all these?" I said, "Oh, they were on the way home." She's like, "Please don't do that. But I wanted you to have flowers." Anyway, so it's May Day, and although I don't have flowers for all of you, happy May Day.
Happy May Day to you too, Rick.
Thank you. Did everybody remember to bring their life vests?
What's that?
Never mind. Just something to say. Okay. We are in Numbers. In Numbers 31. And this is a really interesting portion of the book because it's going to make references to things that we've heard about and we've read about earlier, but there are a lot of things that have not taken place that we're reading about here that conclude a lot of matters that are found actually in the next book, in Deuteronomy. Okay. So although it references things that are happening in Deuteronomy, since Deuteronomy is the next book we'll be studying, we will go in there as we conclude with Numbers, and we'll find out what they're talking about here. Does that make sense? That didn't even make sense to me. It makes sense to you guys? Okay. Anyway, does anybody want to start us off with a song or something? Marilyn, you got a good song for us? No. Rachel, can we see the pig? Now Rachel's been very busy reconstructing this pig. Her cat got a hold of this, and we've been trying to find out where that came from so we could replace it, because he has licked it to the point of, there's not much left. The stuffing's coming out and everything else. So she's making another pig for the cat. Can you hold up the cat? No. Okay, never mind.
The cat.
So there's the cat, and so she's making another pig, and it's exciting stuff. I don't know why, but it's exciting stuff.
Time consuming.
Very time consuming. She's been sewing the very tiny little thing. She showed me what it looks like inside out. I couldn't believe it. It's like, holy cow.
I got the stuff. What?
Good for you.
Oh yeah, I had to YouTube how to do this. And I had
to stuffing it with catnip?
Well, yeah, I put catnip in it along with this batting.
Oh yeah.
I added catnip. But
no, that's mountain mist batting.
I don't know why it's called mountain mist.
It's
I have no idea.
Medium
is a
loft
big industry.
Who knew?
Does anybody else have anything that they want to? No. All right.
Anyway. Now that's recorded.
I bagged up some cinnamon raisin bread.
Oh, I love cinnamon raisin.
Oh, I know.
A little loaf of it. I can actually smell that. That's nice.
Numbers.
Can you guys wait while all right, so
we've only 5 pages left in Numbers.
I know, but they're very good pages. All right, okay. Numbers 31. When the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, take full vengeance for the sons of Israel on the Midianites. We'll find more particulars about what he's talking about and what exactly happened in Deuteronomy. But in the meantime, so this is what I'm talking about is you're probably going, whoa, what's the deal with the Midianites? But we'll find out in Deuteronomy. Okay. So take full vengeance for the sons of Israel on the Midianites. Afterwards, you will be gathered to your people. Moses spoke to the people, saying, arm men from among you for the war, that they may go against Midian to execute the Lord's vengeance on Midian. Now remember, as the Israelites were coming into the promised land, they were taking up space, and people were just freaking out because here's this enormous army and coming into their land. And Moses asked if they could go around some places, and instead they were attacked, and there were all sorts of other things that took place that shouldn't have happened but did. And so now we have this enormous army and this enormous bunch of people, Israelites that have come out of Egypt and out of the wilderness, and now they're standing there, and the Midianites have done something terrible. We'll find out what that is next month in Deuteronomy. No, you can't know. But you can go ahead and read Deuteronomy if you want to. But so here we go. Moses says they're going to execute the Lord's vengeance on Midian, and he says, so 1,000 from each tribe of all the tribes of Israel you shall send to the war. So there were furnished from the thousands of Israel 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed for war. Moses sent them, 1,000 from each tribe, to the war, and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, to the war with them, and the holy vessels and the trumpets for the alarm in his hand. So they made war against Midian, just as the Lord had commanded Moses, and they killed every male. Okay. Now, I'm thinking a couple of chapters back, before we get into the offerings. We'll get to it. Okay, anyway, excuse me. So there are 6. Is that right? 6? 6. Moses sent them, 1,000 from each tribe to the war, and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, to the war with them, and the holy vessels and the trumpets for the alarm in his hand. 7. So they made war against Midian, just as the Lord had commanded Moses, and they killed every male. 8. They killed the kings of Midian along with the rest of their slain, Evi and Rechem and Zur and Hur and Reba, the 5 kings of Midian. They also killed Balaam, the son of Beor, with the sword. You remember Balaam, who had the talking donkey?
Yeah.
Because the last time we heard of Balaam was playing both sides against the middle, and he was trying to get around the Lord, the angel of the Lord, on his donkey, and his donkey wouldn't move. His donkey was stuck there, and he's beating.
Yes.
The donkey started asking him, "Why are you beating me?" Okay. Anyway, 9. The sons of Israel captured the women of Midian and their little ones, and all their cattle, and all their flocks, and all their goods they plundered. Then they burned all their cities where they lived, and all their camps with fire, as opposed to burning them with smoldering. Yes.
Did they kill the donkey of Balaam?
It's unlikely.
Oh, okay.
They took the
I can't
beast.
say yes or no because it doesn't say, but it's unlikely because they captured all the livestock in that. Where am I at?
Well,
9. Oh, sorry.
10.
Yeah.
Then they burned all their cities where they lived and all their camps with fire. We're going to burn these things with fire. Okay. Burn them with fire. As opposed to, just overwhelming them with massive amounts of soap suds or pushing them over. However, they did push over Jericho, and Jericho was no pushover. See what I did there? Never mind. Okay, 11. They took all the spoil and all the prey, both of man and of beast. So that kind of answers your question, Rachel. They took a spoil, all the prey, both of man and of beast. Then they brought the captives and the prey and the spoil to Moses and to Eleazar the priest and to the congregation of the sons of Israel. So they sent out 12,000 people, right? And the 12,000 people went out and they wiped out everybody, all the males in Midian, killed all the kings in Midian, gathered up all the people there in livestock and brought it back. And now they have returned to the congregation of Israel, who is far, far more numerous than just 12,000, right? So they brought all the captives and the prey and the spoil to Moses and to Eleazar the priest and to the congregation of the sons of Israel, to the camp at the plains of Moab, which are by the Jordan, opposite Jericho. So all of this is taking place within sight of Jericho in Moab, and these people are seeing what's taking place. They can see all of this stuff, the war and the pillaging and the well, not necessarily pillaging. They're taking spoils, but I guess you could categorize it as pillaging. So Moses and Eleazar the priest and all the leaders of the congregation went out to meet them outside the camp. It was a big celebration. Yay! You can hear all charging. You know, Moses was angry with the officers of the army, the captains of thousands, and the captains of hundreds who had come from service in the war. So he's you can see Moses walking along. He's got his staff. Everybody else is crowding around because they're excited about this new victory. And here comes Moses, and Moses is not all that happy. He's looking at the officers, and he's saying, "All right, you guys, what are you doing here? I'm telling you, you got to listen to me now." So he says, Moses said to them, "Have you spared all the women? Behold, these caused the sons of Israel, through the counsel of Balaam, to trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor. So the plague was among the congregation of the Lord. And you let them live? And you brought them here? They're the ones that started this trouble. Why? What's the deal with you people? I give you one thing to do. I tell you, just wipe out everybody. What do you do? Now you come back with them all. Now, therefore, 17, now, therefore, kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman who has known man intimately. But all the girls who have not known man intimately, spare for yourselves. Them you can have. But the rest of them, gotta go. They gotta go. Now,
Rick, excuse me.
Please.
Okay, I'm embarrassed to say this, but why does the Lord, why is he seeking, like, why is he having them kill the kings of Midian and all these people? You know, why is it again that he's killing all these people, thousands of people?
I was hoping someone would ask that.
I completely forgot. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. We've spent 2 weeks away, and then we spent the week before that talking about inheritances and all sorts of things like that. And it's been a while since we've talked about this kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'm very glad you asked that. Thank you. A lot of people read the New Testament. They go, "Man, there's an awful lot of killing going on here. I thought God didn't like killing. I thought God said, don't, thou shalt not murder." However, in Psalm 82, let's go to Psalm 82. Have we read this before? In the NASB, if you have this Bible right here, it would be on page 601 in the Old Testament. If you do not have that Bible, then I can't tell you where it is. But
we did read it.
Did
God
we?
rebukes.
Yes.
We read, and I put God rebukes the gods of the celestials or something I wrote.
Yes. Well, let's read it because it's worth reading again because it is it explains
Psalms
so
what?
much.
What
Psalm
Psalms?
82.
82.
Also known as Psalm 82. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Psalm 82, verse 1. God takes his stand in his own congregation. Now, we have the congregation of Israel, right? Which are all the Israelites. That's all of Israel. Men, women, children, all of them. Okay, that's the congregation of Israel. Okay, but God has his own congregation, and his own congregation are those that he has created that are under him. That's the angelic beings, the celestial beings. This is the sons of God. This is the sons of the morning. This is everybody. This is the council that God calls all together to him, his congregation. He brings them all together and he judges in the midst of the rulers, people that he has delegated to do this and delegated to do that and delegated to do this. Okay, God spoke into existence everything that exists. And then he created companions, if you will, not necessarily on his level, because the only ones on his level would be the Holy Spirit and Jesus, the Son, right? Okay, but the rest are subordinate to God in every manner and in all things, and he delegates to them authority to do specific things throughout existence. Take care of that quadrant, take care of this quadrant, take care of this, take care of this, take care of this. When he created the earth, he made the earth for himself. He made the earth to be his footstool and his garden. And he did not delegate authority to govern the earth to any of them. Okay? Instead, he created Adam in God's own image, because this was God's garden. And so he created Adam in his own image to tend the garden. And then he did exactly what you would expect God to do. He created a very lush, verdant planet filled with life, teeming with life, in an ecosystem that is perfect, and all things would have been perfect. And this is where God goes to walk through his garden. And so then he says it's not good for the man to be alone, and he creates Eve for Adam. Now, the rest of the celestial beings who have authority to govern pretty much everything that God has delegated authority to, they don't like this. They've been handling things everywhere, and they haven't had any complaints so far. Well, what's the deal with this thing? So one of them, the serpent, not necessarily Satan, we know him as the serpent. And the serpent corrupts Eve, who then corrupts Adam. And they take and steal authority for the running of the world, and they usurp that authority, and now it's in their own hands. And what happens then is they see that these women, because there probably are not women anywhere else, there's no need for angels or for celestial beings to have females, because they are already eternal. They are immortal in nature. They don't have to procreate. So there's no need for for more than one sex, gender, whatever you want to call it. So, but they see these women. Yes, ma'am.
And I understand that angels are all full-grown male if you were to have a gender on them. They're not
Yes.
cherubs and they're not babies with wings.
Well, the cherubim are something different. No, they're not cherubs. No.
They're
No.
full-grown physically male, or if
Well,
they had a sex, it'd be.
If they had a sex, it would be male. And yeah, the cherubim you would not want to see. You would not want to see at all, because they are terrifying. They would be terrifying in their splendor, in their glory, in their proximity to God. So you wouldn't want to just randomly encounter a cherubim anywhere. It would not be a pleasant thing. We are to them much like ants are to us. We're interesting. We serve a purpose, but we are here for a moment and then we're gone. It says that according to the angels, we're like little vapors. We exist for a moment and they apparently have a hard time understanding why God is fascinated with us, why he would have created us, and what's the attraction here. I mean, we were easily knocked off course, and so they came in and they took over. And then they saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took of them as many as they wanted and made wives. I know we say this a lot, but it's important stuff. This is setting the stage for everything that takes place afterwards. It upsets and completely ruins the natural order that God established and said was very good. So the celestials come in and they do their thing. They usurp authority and they corrupt man. And so God he broke the world that he made in order to eliminate the celestial input and the celestial impact, and start all over again with Noah, his wife, Noah's 4 sons, or Noah's 3 sons and their daughters. And so this is extremely important stuff. And so what happened was he begins again and the children of Ham and Japheth, or Ham and Shem and Japheth, they all began to repopulate the earth. And God had already commanded them to go throughout the world and take authority over that and repopulate, but they didn't. They remained in one place. They remained in Babel, and there they started up their old ways and began to corrupt things. And they went back to the ways of the Nephilim and the ways of the old gods, small g, and such. And it was at that point that God calls the council together here. And he says, he judges in the midst of the rulers. And he says, how long, he's talking to his council there. He says, how long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Vindicate the weak and the fatherless. This is what you're supposed to be doing. This is what God is telling them. Vindicate the weak and the fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and destitute. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them out of the hand of the wicked. They do not know, nor do they understand. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said, you are gods, and all of you are the sons of the Most High. Nevertheless, you will die like men and fall like any one of these princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for it is you who possess all the nations. So at this point, God says to the angelic beings that are running things, I called you gods. I gave you authority. I gave you a power, okay, to run things here. You took it from me, but now I'm giving it to you. And he says, and I'm going to divorce the rest of the world, and I'm going to choose my own inheritance. And his own inheritance was Abraham. And he said, that will be my inheritance. I will take that man because he believes me, because he has faith in me, and I will repopulate using him. And I will set him aside, and I will give him my laws and my statutes. I will be his God. He will be my children. I will bless his children. I will bless all of his progeny. And through him, I will redeem all the rest of the world. Okay. But he said, as far as all the other nations go, nuts to them. They've divided themselves up. They have chosen their gods. They've chosen to follow everybody but me. So you guys take them. You take them. And I'll take Abraham, and on him, and through him, I will redeem the world. So the children of Midian, the people of Midian, the people of Jericho, of things like that, they do not honor God. They do not recognize God. They have their own gods. They have their own ways. They have ways that God detests. You know, what is the first commandment? I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. That's what he says, right? He says, I am a jealous God. Not that he's needy, not that he's emotional. That's not what he's saying. He's saying nobody else is God. And when you put anybody else ahead of me, you're just spitting in my face, you know, and I don't appreciate it. So that's the importance here, is he has said to the Israelites, I have promised you this land. I told Abraham all the land that I was going to give him. I explained to him the boundaries and the borders of this land, and that he's to go in there and he will occupy this land. Well, while they're in captivity, because he needed to bring them out of Egypt, the last bastion of the old world, if you will, the old broken world, that he brought them there in order to show that the gods that existed there, the small g gods that existed there, were not him, and that he was the only God, that he was head and shoulders above every other God. So he brings them out of Egypt. He delivers them to the promised land, and it's occupied by the ways of the enemy. And the enemy knew he wanted that land. The enemy heard his promise to Abraham. And so the enemy went in there anyway and gathered up that land. So God says, no, get them all out of here. Get them all out of here. That's your land. I'm your God. You are to go in here and you are to worship me and you are to do as I say, so that I can do and accomplish all that I want and redeem everybody else. Get rid of these people. Get rid of them, all of them. They are unclean. They are unworthy. They are whatever. And they're not my children. I've divorced myself from them. You are my children. These are the children of lesser gods. These are the children of other gods, corrupted gods, insane gods that pretend to be me. So that's that. Does that make sense?
Much. Thank you very much. Yes.
Certainly.
Thank you, Rick.
And that,
Even
yes,
the
ma'am.
children can't be innocent?
Well, what did he say?
He said they're children of lesser gods.
No. In the scripture here, what does he say?
Kill the male of the little ones.
The males. Yes. And the women that
And the
corrupted
women.
the Israelites.
Any woman who's had sex.
Yes.
Mhm.
So he's already, his army has already killed all the males of the Midians of the where they went to war. All the males are dead. But rather than listen to God, they brought these women back and their kids, and God said, no, I told you to wipe them out. So take all the women, because it was because of them that the Israelites became corrupted and in their hearts and turned from God. He said, get them out of here. They're done. No, this is like a replay, if you will, on a much broader scale of Eve and Adam. You know, they brought Balaam's poisoned fruit to the Israelites and had them eat. And God says, nope, no, absolutely not. Get them out of here. Now, the girls that have not had sex, those you can keep, because they have not had carnal knowledge. They have not offended God or offended themselves by abandoning their virtue, if you will, for lack of a better phrase. They remain.
But why the male little ones? If they've committed no sin, if the females that are still virgin can stay, why couldn't the virginal young males stay?
I get it.
Because
I get it.
I get
boys grow up to be men,
Yeah.
and they are children of the Midianites, and they will hold the destruction of their families and their towns and their everybody against the Israelites, and all it will do is cause problems.
Oh, like they'll
So
try to
they'll
avenge
grow
the
in to
father
devour
later.
them.
Right. Whereas the women, the girls that have yet to have sex, they will come of age in Israel and will bear Israelite children.
Okay.
So they will be intermingled within the family, much more so than the males would be.
Yeah.
All right. But I understand your point of view. It seems alarming. However, this is the part of scripture that is really hard for people to take into account. God's sovereignty. The sovereignty of God is unequaled. There is no other God that has the sovereignty that he has. God says, let there be this, and there is. There is. He doesn't make modifications. He doesn't make changes. He doesn't go back and redo. He says, this is exactly what I wanted. This is very good. Okay. But where do these things that God made come from?
God,
So who has authority over them?
just him.
So if he has authority over them, then where does their life come from?
Him.
Where does their existence come from?
Him.
Peter talks about that, and he says, there are pieces that the potter, being God, referencing God, makes that he intends to keep. And there are pieces that he makes that he intends to destroy.
Yeah.
He says, what is that to anybody but the potter?
Yeah. That's a good point.
This offends us because we sit there and we say, no, that's not fair. We get a say in this.
Or no, don't hurt the children.
Yeah, don't hurt the children. We have a say in this, and you're being bad, God. You're not performing according to our thinking. And God says, wait a minute. And we went over this in Job, remember?
Yeah.
Where were you when I made the world? Did I come to you for help? Did I ask you to tell me how to do this? No, not at all. So when it comes to the will of God, it is a mystery to us because we are not God. Because his authority supersedes everything. God's will is perfect. God's will is right. Everything else is a corruption of God's will. God says this is the promised land of the Israelite people through whom he will restore all the nations of the world. And here are these people that are already in there. They've moved themselves in and corrupted his children. No, they got to go. They've got to go. because we live in an age of grace now, we believe that many people believe, and it's taught almost universally, that God is this wonderful, nice guy and everything else. And he is. He is. God is love. But God is also justice. And God is righteousness. God is vengeance. He says, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. He says, no, you don't get to carry out vengeance, because your vengeance and my vengeance are two entirely different things. Your vengeance comes from your heart and your mind. My vengeance comes from perfection.
Amen.
So when God says this is how it's going to be, our answer to that is, yes, this is how it's going to be. Thank you. Please give us the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following thought has got to be, we're not automatons, we're not robots, we have free will, we have free this, we have free that, which again is a corruption of the thought. What did Jesus say? Love one another as I have loved you. Okay. And though we have grace today, this is the same God who wiped out Sodom and Gomorrah, who wiped out all life on earth except for 8 people and 2 of each animal, because they were going contrary to his will. They had corrupted his will. They had gone against the will of God, and they were reaping the repercussions of that. There are consequences to everything. We don't understand what those consequences are in the moment or even years later, but there are times in our lives where we can look back and say, oh man, that's why that happened. Oh, that's why that happened. I did this and this. I get it. He's saying the same thing. He's saying, if you keep these sons, the sons of the Midianite women in your camp, they are going to corrupt your men and your women. They are going to fight against you. They are going to make your life extremely difficult later on. Get rid of them now. It's okay to do that because I own them. I made them. I own them. I know where their souls are going. I know what's going to happen to them. I'm in charge of this. Not me, but God. So this is what he's saying. And we need to trust God on that.
Yes.
God is not an arbitrary God. And though he has established grace within the nations, he's still at the juncture that we're reading about now. He's saying that grace does not extend because these people have turned their backs on him. And they are an impediment to him accomplishing they are an impediment to him accomplishing the grace that is to come. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions, comments, thoughts? Is it a blanket there, Terry?
Yeah, my feet were cold.
You have enough for everyone? Would anybody else want one of Terry's
It's
blankets?
only 82 outside, but my feet are cold.
Oh,
I know.
thank you so much, Rick.
Thank you. Thank you for asking.
I completely forgot. That makes a lot more sense now to me. I understand it much better.
Because this is God's will. This is God's plan.
Amen.
This is what he's doing. It doesn't make any sense to us,
Right.
because we're looking at it from an entirely different perspective. No, that's not right. That's not fair. Why wouldn't, God sees all the way to the end of things.
Yeah.
Yes.
These people are going to cause problems 783,000 years from now. Maybe not that,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They are
The
going to
men will grow
introduce.
up to take vengeance.
Yeah.
Right.
Not
It's
only
fun.
that, but they'll probably invent Teflon. They'll ruin the river.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Did we
I don't know
finish
that that's the
Psalm and
case.
back to 31? I missed it.
I'm sorry, what?
Not-
Did we finish Psalm 82 and are we back at 31? Or are we still on
Yes,
Psalm
we're back
82?
at 31. Thank you.
Okay, so that clarified why 17.
17. Okay,
And
so
18.
yeah, 17, 18, but all the girls who have not known man intimately, spare for yourselves. Them you can have. They will become part of Israel. They will be absorbed into the nation of Israel through their children and their grandchildren. And because you're women, you have women's hearts, Yeah, you're brought into this new tribe, and those of you that are married and were brought into the in-law tribe, brought into the family through and absorbed by the in-laws, you know what that's like. You've joined a new tribe,
Mhm.
and you adopt a lot of their ways. And the thought of breaking off from that is not a pleasant thought. Yeah, no. And knowing that you have children that are now part of that tribe,
Yeah.
it makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have
So,
to learn to accept their ways.
right. So this
Even
is
though,
why he's saying women are built different than men,
Mhm.
and your way of thinking is different because the children pass through your bodies, and
Yeah,
as
and
a
for their
result of that,
benefit, we have to accept the ways of
right,
that family,
right.
Right.
so our children can prosper.
Yes. And so if you grow up in this new tribe and you take a husband from this new tribe and you have children with that husband in this new tribe, and those children grow up and they marry within this tribe, now your grandchildren are even more embedded in this tribe. And pretty soon it's like, we're home. This is
Yep.
home.
That's it.
Yeah. Whereas guys would be like, no, 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 no. I want that one, but I also want that one and that one. So
It's
Mhm.
true.
sorry.
It's kind of true.
Uh, okay. So, um,
90?
19 and
19.
you 19. Yeah. And you camp outside the camp 7 days. Whoever has killed any person and whoever has touched any slain, purify yourselves, you and your captives, on the third day and on the seventh day. You shall purify yourselves for every garment, and every article of leather, and all the works of goat's hair, all the work of goat's hair, and all articles of wood. So everything that you've brought back and everything that you have with you and everything that was on you has to be purified. Step outside the camp because there has been death, and you can't bring the death into the camp. Okay, go out there and purify yourselves, and you'll be there out there for 7 days, and you do your ritual purification on the third and on the seventh days. Everything you have, everything you've got, go do it. Don't bring anything into the camp. And there's a number of reasons for that, because these are different towns that they've been in, and they may have had different
Oh,
um,
different God.
hygienic practices, and there may be viruses, or there may be bacteria, or there may be infections among those other people that are not native to Israel, because Israel has been wandering around in the desert and was in Egypt before that. So now they're in here and they're dealing with these other people. It's like, everything you've got on you, just purify it, sanitize it. Get rid of anything out there that is not that could have been born in on the clothing or the whatever.
Mhm.
Um,
21.
Thank you. Then Eleazar the priest said to the men of war, those 12,000 who had gone to battle, "This is the statute of the law which the Lord has commanded Moses. Only the gold and the silver and the bronze, the iron, the tin, and the lead, everything that can stand the fire, you shall pass through the fire, and it shall be clean. But it shall be purified with water for impurity." This has to be burned, okay? Everything has to go through the fire. Again, the fire will kill off bacteria. It will kill off germs. It will kill off infections. It will also, if they're talking about swords or spears or bowls or helmets or anything else that may have been brass or copper or I don't know about copper, but any of those gold, silver, bronze, iron, tin, lead, any of those things have to go through the fire because there may be blood on it, there may be flesh on it, there may be anything that could be impure. Feces could be anything, you know? So those all have to be passed through fire. This is the purification. God is teaching them hygienic law, hygienic practices. He's teaching them and how to the antiseptic methods and practices. 24, and you shall wash your clothes on the seventh day and be clean, and afterward you may enter the camp. I think this makes perfect sense. They stay outside the camp. they cleanse everything. For 7 days while you're outside there, any germs or bacteria you have are either going to leave, die, dry up, go away, whatever. And then you wash your clothes, and all these things they're gone. They go into the soil, they go into whatever, but they are rendered neutral and innate. You pass through the fire anything that's got any chance of bringing disease or pestilence or anything into the camp. 25. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "You and Eleazar, the priest, and the heads of the fathers of the households of the congregation, take account of the booty that was captured, both of man and of animal, and divide the booty between the warriors who went out to battle and all the congregation." Excuse me. "Levy a tax for the Lord from the men of war who went out to battle, 1 in 500 of the persons, and of the cattle, and of the donkeys, and of the sheep. Take it from their half and give it to Eleazar the priest as an offering to the Lord," because he's the high priest and he will offer these things to the Lord. We don't know if Balaam's donkey's in there. It's unlikely, though.
Thank you. I have a question, though. What does it mean 1 in 500 of the persons?
So you take, if there's 500 people of them, one of them goes to the high priest.
Oh, only one. Okay.
Yeah, only one. If
Okay.
there's 500 donkeys, one of them goes to the high priest. If there's cattle, one of them goes to the high priest.
Okay.
Sheep, camels, anything else along those lines. I'm
Okay.
going to pause this for a moment, if I may. Is that okay with you guys?
Sure.
I'll be right back. The recording is in progress. All right.
Oh, the division of booty. Where are we?
The division of the booty.
25.
What? No, I think we're at.
No, aren't we at like 30? Wait.
Yeah, I think we're at 30.
We are? Oh,
Yes.
gosh. Okay.
Yeah, we're at 30. From the sons of Israel's half, you shall take one drawn out of
Yes.
every 50 of the persons, of the cattle, of the donkeys, and of the sheep, from all the animals, and give them to the Levites who keep charge of the tabernacle of the Lord. Moses and Eleazar the priest did just as the Lord had commanded Moses. 32. Now the booty that remained from the spoil, which the men of war had plundered, was 675,000 sheep.
Incredible.
And I know you're probably thinking to yourself, where are we going to put all these beasts? All right, 33. And 72,000 cattle and 61,000 donkeys.
Wow.
And of human beings, of the women who had not known man intimately, all the persons were 32,000. 32,000 people. We're going to be added.
32,000 pubescent women, girls.
Pubescent women and those who had never known a man. Probably many of them would never know a man, but that's okay. The half, 36, the portion of those who went out to war was as follows. What's that?
You're not making any sense, but you did that on purpose.
I did that on purpose to make you think about that. Why wouldn't they know man? It doesn't make any difference.
Because they were old and ugly, is what he's saying.
I didn't say that. Those are your words.
You were saying that they were old and ugly.
Or young and ugly, or just
they were
ornery.
They were probably all girls.
They were probably all ornery. They were just like, just like that. So,
Sorry.
It's like, give them to Grandpa. Grandpa wants them. Like, no. Okay. Anyway, okay. I got to take my glasses off here. Okay, I got to put my glasses back on. Now, the portion of those who went out to war was as follows. The number of sheep was 337,500.
Wow.
Anybody got a calculator? Combine that with a 675,000. We're talking 700 and what? 712, 708,000 sheep. 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 Now imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine that times 700,000. nearly 750,000 of these things. And how many do they already have? You know,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure they
right.
had
A
that
lot
many
of
already.
pasture that's needed and water
You got pasture and you got
and
water and you got,
shepherds.
and imagine walking through that. You know, we're talking about a lot of
They're
sheep
not all
here.
clumped together like a blood clot. They're spread out.
Still, that's a lot of sheep and that's a lot of stuff to avoid. You know,
Sure
that's
is.
all I'm saying. See somebody leaping through the minefield.
There's no
Anyway.
corrals. They're just on hillsides.
And the Lord's levy of the sheep was 675. Now imagine that. Okay. They got 700,000 sheep here, and the Lord gets 675 of them. That was not a great demand on the Lord's part. He was extremely generous to these people. Yes,
I have a
ma'am.
question. What does
Sure.
God need sheep for in the first place?
He
This
doesn't.
is for the sacrifice.
Yes, these are for the sacrifices.
Well, what
The
does he need
people
to
need
sac-
the sheep.
But wait a minute. No, seriously, what does God need to sacrifice for in the first place? He doesn't eat, as far as we know.
Remember, they have to make their atonement with an animal. They have
Oh,
to have so many put aside.
okay, got it.
Why? Why?
It pleases him, the aroma.
Yeah.
Mm.
Has to be a sacrifice for the
The
sin.
smell of fat, of the
No.
burnt fat. This is what he's talking about. All the fat on the meat, that's his. It creates for him a pleasing aroma. Why?
I don't know.
What is fat?
I don't know.
Adipose tissue.
It's the
Excess?
excess.
Oh,
Well, they're
It's the
burning the whole
blessings.
animal.
What's
What?
that?
Aren't they burning the whole animal?
Yes, but what I'm talking about is specifically the fat portions here. And the fat portions are a pleasing aroma to the Lord. I was thinking about this the other day, about a week and a half ago, being generously endowed. And I was thinking, what a detriment. What a detriment. Why am I like this? Why am I like this? And then I realized, wait a minute, fat is a blessing. The Lord has blessed me. And seriously, the Lord has blessed me in ways that I never understood before. I mean, he has said, I have provided you with more than enough, so that you have grown fat. Okay. Now I don't think that being fat is pleasing to the Lord because we are the temple of the Holy Spirit. However, what a generous gift.
Yeah, if we're in danger of a famine, you're gonna live longer.
Oh, I will. I will.
Sure.
I'll probably
Which
outlive
could
Ollie.
happen because there could be another pandemic.
We're not going there.
Okay,
There-
but I'm just saying.
There will
In our,
be
in our,
another
in our
pandemic.
food, our
Seriously?
food source is starting to dwindle.
It is. We're gonna have a less production of animals because we didn't have the chemical we needed to put in the diesel trucks, so they couldn't ship, and our crops are gonna be lost, and our cow and pig population is gonna be way down the next few years. We didn't have the crops to feed them. We couldn't make it last year and the year before, so we're gonna see a deficit, a big one. So there might be something to that. He said, Rick, the reason for the fat in times of plenty is because it's going to be times of war and starvation. I don't know if it's this time now or then or what will never happen. We don't know, but I'm just saying.
mhm.
Does this concern you?
Nope,
You sure?
not at all.
Okay. Okay.
Doesn't
Because-
concern me at all.
Because there's the ways of the world, and then there's the Lord.
That'll take care of me. I'm just making it like common knowledge.
Mhm.
This,
Okay.
I believe, will come to pass soon, the
The
shortages, but I'm not worried about it. Does that make sense?
no, but okay. It's
Don't
all
you
right.
believe me?
I don't I believe you about what?
That I'm not worried about it?
Well, you wouldn't bring it up if it wasn't a concern.
I think it's an interesting fact, just like I was sure that a pandemic was gonna happen, just like it does every 100 years. Didn't bother me. Sylvia and I were splashing in the pool for 2 months and having a good time. We weren't concerned at all. Just said it's gonna be here for 2 years and we have to stay away from everybody. And that's exactly what happened. But I got the privilege of studying epidemiology in college and being a public health inspector, so I kind of knew what was coming, just from school and working and stuff like that. I wasn't afraid of it. It did kill a lot of people, but,
What
and I
did?
don't think it's the last.
Mhm.
What
Me
did?
too, Terry. I think there's gonna be another one. Mhm.
Well, I mean,
They,
the Butterfingers over in the
But-
Wuhan lab could just drop one little test tube and walk it out to the seafood market and spread it globally, whether it was on purpose. I have my suspects that it was on purpose, but anyway. It might be good that you're chubby right now, was my point. If you're chubby, you don't look chubby to me.
he doesn't to me either.
You look a lot thinner.
It's the beard. Um,
No, your face is thinner.
yeah, and the Lord's levy of the sheep was 675, no 38, and the cattle were 36,000, from which the Lord's levy was 72. The Lord took 72 cattle out of the 36,000. And the donkeys were 30,500, from which the Lord's levy was 65. And the human beings were 16,000, from whom the Lord's levy was 32 persons.
Wait, what
Moses-
happened to those 32 persons? What do you mean?
They became servants of the high priests.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
They went into service. Okay.
Yeah, they weren't offered as sacrifice. Yes, please.
I thought
Okay.
I thought no women were allowed to serve the Lord. I thought only women were captured. I thought all the males were killed.
They weren't.
So what kind of service did the women do for the Lord?
I don't know. It doesn't say.
Oh, okay.
But they're put into service of the Lord. Maybe they did tailoring. Maybe they did cooking. I don't
Cooking.
know.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
they, I don't know,
Cooking,
did
washing.
tent repair. Maybe they dug holes.
Mm.
I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know. More will probably be revealed later. Okay, where are we at? 41.
41.
Moses gave the levy, which was the Lord's offering, to Eleazar the priest, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. As for the sons of Israel's half, which Moses separated from the men who had gone to war, now the congregation's half was 337,500 sheep, and 36,000 cattle, and 30,500 donkeys, and the human beings were 16,000. And from the sons of Israel's half, Moses took one drawn out of every 50, both of man and of animals, and gave them to the Levites, who kept charge of the tabernacle of the Lord, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. 48. Then the officers who were over the thousands of the army, the captains of the thousands, and the captains of hundreds approached Moses, and they said to Moses, Moses, your servants have taken a census of men of war who are in our charge, and no man is missing. The casualty rate for the Israelites was 0.
That's what happens when God sees fit.
Oh, wow. I didn't get that till you said that like that.
Yeah.
The Israelite army during the 6-day war and the attack on Sinai and the Yom Kippur War, Google the casualty rate
The
of
6-Day
those
War?
wars. Google the casualty rate of the Israeli army during the 6-day war and the Yom Kippur.
When was Yom Kippur?
Yeah.
The Day of Atonement, was it 72?
The year 72?
72. I think it was the year you were born.
Oh, hold on.
I don't think that had anything to do with you, but you never know.
20,000 Arabs and 800 Israelites died. That's a lot.
How many
In just
Israel?
132 hours. 20,000 Arabs were killed, but only 800 Israelis. 20,000 Jews.
20,000.
So
Now, when was that? The Yom Kippur, or was it the 6-day
that
war?
was June 10th, 1967.
Yep,
The
the
6-Day
6-day war.
War.
Yep.
That was 132 hours. 12 is more, yeah,
Mm.
sure.
So 800 Israelites died?
So what's the percentage, what percent is that? So that'd be 16%.
Hmm.
800 of 20,000, 16%.
No, that's not 16%. That's like point something.
Well, don't
That's
you take
16.
What is it again?
the percentage of 800
800.
out of 20, so 20,000 Arabs died and 800 Israelis. What percentage is that? Isn't
Got it.
it,
Hold on.
is it 1.6?
No. No. Then that would not even be 1%.
I got 25%.
No, no.
Well, I got 16% in my head because I multiplied 2 times 8. We'll do
I
the
forget
math.
how. Sorry.
Okay, wait, let me Google it.
What would
What
10
percent would it be to have 800 of 20,000? Oh, it didn't work. What percent? Never mind.
All right, so enough of the percentages. The whole point being 20,000 Arab casualties, 800 Israeli. Now, what about the Yom Kippur War?
Each of one.
What was the casualty rate for the Israelis on the Yom Kippur War?
What was his answer?
Um, here, I'm looking it
Marilyn,
up.
what did he say?
Ramadan War? 73, 1973.
73, thank you.
I found the percentage that we were looking for earlier.
Please,
It's 0.4%.
0.4%.
You take 800 divided by 20,000, it's 0.4%.
Oh, I did it wrong. I multiplied it. So I forgot to do it.
0.4%.
0.4.
Mm-hmm.
2,565 Israeli and more than 72,000 were injured. Well, it didn't finish it.
Oh,
It doesn't say.
Okay. Well, you guys can look that up.
Okay.
But let's finish this chapter.
Okay.
Okay, so 50. So we have brought as an offering to the Lord what each man found, articles of gold, armlets and bracelets, signet rings, earrings, and necklaces to make atonement for ourselves before the Lord. Moses and Eleazar, the priests, took the gold from them, all kinds of wrought articles. All the gold of the offering which they offered up to the Lord from the captains of thousands and of the captains of hundreds was 17,607 or 750 shekels. The men of war had taken booty, every man for himself. So Moses and Eleazar, the priests, took the gold from the captains of thousands and of hundreds and brought it to the tent of meeting as a memorial for the sons of Israel before the Lord. Their plunder was such that it was this enormous amount of plunder. And the men, because there wasn't a single casualty among them, nobody was killed, they brought before God another atonement offering to atone for their sins, maybe whatever those might have been. But they brought them before the Lord, and they made this special offering to him. Here, we all walked out of there, we all walked out of there. We want to remember the Lord. So what does that tell us? Okay, that's the end of 32. We'll pick up on 32 next week, Lord willing. And but what does that tell us? A lot of things. The ways of the Lord are not our ways, and our ways are not the ways of the Lord. That his ways are perfect. They don't make much sense to us. Why would you send 12,000 people into battle against the 5 kings of the Midians? You'd expect you'd have all these casualties, and everybody comes back. Everybody comes back.
mhm.
So they come back praising the Lord, and they give an extra gift to the Lord because of their gratitude, because of their what he's shown them, that he loves them, that he protects them, that he fights for them. All right. So what does that mean in modern day terms for us as believers? Terry, you okay?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how many Arabs died compared to Israelis.
Okay, we can work on that later. If you want. The enemy confuses us with numbers. The enemy confuses us with circumstances. The enemy confuses us with things and how they appear. The idea that there's this global catastrophe coming and none of us are going to get out of this unscathed. The food supplies are shrinking. We don't have much of what we need. These are things coming down the pipe. Well, yeah, the Lord already told us about that times would be
Yeah.
tough, times would be lean. And what does he say? Rely on him. Trust him.
Worry for nothing. I feed the birds of the sky. How much more will I take care of you?
Exactly. So that being the case, that's either true or that's not true. It can't be kind of true. Because if it's kind of true, it's also kind of false. And God does not deal in falsehoods. So when God says, I will take care of you, he means that.
Mhm.
Now,
That's why I'm not worried.
to what extent you trust God, that's the extent of serenity and peace you'll experience at any given moment. The amount of peace and serenity that I enjoy at any given moment is in direct proportion with the amount of anything I am willing to surrender to God. Whether it's my time or thoughts or fears or worries or circumstances or anything else, I give that to God because God's already got it covered. He knows how this ends.
Mhm.
He knows how everything ends. He's already been there. And so he's coming back from there to tell us on a momentary basis within the portion of our lives that we're in. Don't worry about what's coming up. I've already taken care of that. What does he say? Most of all, fear not him who can kill the body and then do no more. It says, rather fear him who can kill the body and then cast the soul into hell. He's talking about himself. So what does that mean? That means that we are to trust the Lord. He knows the beginning from the end. He knows the end from the beginning. He knows all parts in between. He knows it. He's not guessing at it. It isn't like he's figuring things out as it goes. He's already been there. He's already got it taken care of. He already knows how this goes because he's arranged it all. He has arranged every moment of your life. Now, he allows pain to happen to us. He allows circumstances to happen to us. He allows things to happen to us in order to break us. And why would God want us broken?
So we need him.
So we need him. What is there that God can do for a strong person that the strong person won't think they did themselves? There's the fallacy running around out there. God helps those that help themselves. He doesn't. God helps the helpless. Let me say that again. God helps the helpless.
Yeah.
God opposes the proud and shows grace to the humble. So when a man comes along saying, I did this and I did that and I can do this and I can do that, God says, no, 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 no. Proud men on the Titanic said even God couldn't sink this ship. That's what they said before the launch. Even God couldn't sink this ship.
It's unsinkable.
How many people did that affect? Their pride killed thousands.
Thousands, 4,000. I don't know how many we're on that. 3,000.
Something like that. Their pride killed other people.
Well, and the bumbling fool who didn't see the iceberg, his only job.
Bumbling fool.
I mean, it was your only job was to look out for the iceberg.
Yep. Stop bumbling. You fool. Quit your bumbling.
Like the
There's an iceberg
Bowfingers
up
over
ahead.
at the Wuhan lab.
More than 1,500 people lost their lives on the Titanic.
Oh, I was thinking
Oh,
the
I thought it was way
Lusitania,
more.
1,500. Yes.
Well, there was 2,240 passengers and crew on board, but more than 1,500 lost their lives.
This is
Only 700 got away.
This is the Google crew. Check you guys out.
I'm still
Wow.
trying to get that Arab death rate for this
Yeah.
war.
The whole point being that I think it was the Yom Kippur War. It was a surprise attack. It came on one of the holiest days in Israel, and all of a sudden it's a surprise. What?
2,600 Israelis to the 8,800. Oh shit, that says wounded. Sorry. I'm sorry. I can't find how many Arabs died.
It's all right. I
It's
think
driving me crazy.
I think the Israeli Air Force lost 3 jets. I think that's what they did. 3. Yes, go ahead, Marilyn.
The more dependent I am on God, the more serene I am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
So what does that mean? What does that mean in practical terms? I know I beat this drum all the time, and I apologize for beating the drum, but it's important. We have been presented within the last 100 and some years, this dichotomy of spirit, versus material. What started out as practical practices of the mechanics of the human body became its own religion. Psychology, psychiatry, and now medicine. We have been told that these are whom we are to rely on. Well, the psychologists say that this is the condition that everybody has to look up.
Mhm.
Same with the psychiatrists. Are you ailing? Take this pill. Now, I'm going to tell you a story that I read about. There was a psychiatrist in a state mental institution. I don't remember which, and I don't remember his name, so please forgive me. I'm just going to tell you this in general. He worked in there with people in the psychiatric ward that were some seriously hardcore people. There was one man that had been there for decades and had never spoken to anyone, and he walked around very angry and very angry and very angry. Anyway,
what?
it's angry, an angry
Mm.
man who never spoke to anybody. Well, what happened was some people from a church showed up at the psychiatric ward, and they were praying for people. They began praying for them. One of these men was somebody that they prayed for. And the psychiatrist shoot him out of there. Get out of there. Don't bring us any of your voodoo or whatever it is you got here going on, and get this out of here. This is a place of reason and science.
Science.
So what happened? A couple of days later, this guy started talking. Decades he had been silent. He was prayed over, and he began to talk.
Just like in the Bible.
So this psychiatrist said, "No, there's something to this. There's something more than we're seeing here." Kind of like the break between Jung and Freud. Freud believed it's all science, it's cut and dried, it's mechanical. He was dead set against any kind of spiritual aspect. But Carl Jung kept saying, no, there's more to this. There's more to this. This is why he wrote about the metaphysical things, physics, metaphysics, all of that. So what happened? There was a huge break from Freud. Freud was very angry at Jung, who was one of his greatest disciples. Are you laughing at the cat's nose, Sylvia? I know, right?
I can
Wait,
see.
what happened to the guy? What happened to the guy
Sorry.
when the psychiatrist asked him?
The psychiatrist started presenting these things to his colleagues, and he was saying, this is something that we can incorporate into treatment. Maybe there's something we need to look into. And they fired him. We don't do that kind of crap here. You are not allowed to talk about anything but our religion of science.
Yeah.
Even after the guy started talking?
Even after the guy started talking,
Didn't they ever ask the guy
there were
why he was
other
talking?
reasons for that happening that had to be
Oh.
logical and rational, but none of this hocus pocus with your Jesus stuff here. Get that
They
stuff
never
out of here.
asked him why he talked?
I don't remember. This was a very long time ago that I read this, and it was a very satisfying article, except up until the point that he was fired. But he went on to do to begin a path of treatment that incorporated spirituality and specifically Christianity.
Best job change ever.
Yeah,
Yes.
he went from being an atheist clinician to being a Christian, whatever, to, I
That's
can't think of the word.
Wonderful.
Okay, so what's the point here? What's the point I'm trying to make?
We have to
Men,
rely, we have to just remember that God has our back for everything. We have to put all our faith in him, that he will
Yes.
take care of us, feed us,
And-
clothe us. I mean, all of that.
and
We
it's a
just have
huge
to-
leap.
It
It
is.
seems
Mhm.
denying the world in
Mhm.
order to follow God.
Mhm.
I mean, this is big stuff, but this is the truth. There is one God, one God.
Amen.
He doesn't need science. He is science. He invented science. He invented the true science. You know, archaeology, geology, anthropology, sociology, geology. The answer for geology in most cases is extremely circular. They date the fossils that they find on the age of the rocks they're found in. And then they date the age of the rocks that they're found in by the age of the fossils that are found within them.
Yeah. And if it doesn't fit their paradigm, they just add 100, couple thousand more years to it, and then it makes sense.
Just described climate change. What a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Doesn't
So,
exist.
so with
It's a
geology,
man-made construct.
yes, and I would like to plug this because I think it's really worth plugging. There's a video out now called "Is Genesis History?" If you have not
Yeah.
seen it, do yourself a wonderful favor. It may be on
Okay.
YouTube, it may be somewhere else. You could probably
I
go to the
can
library
Android.
and buy it, or rent it, or take it out, or whatever. But it's called "Is Genesis History?" And they're doing a second series on that as well, and they address geology. And
It was
these
the
are
flood.
these are all doctors. These people are PhDs and in their specific fields, and every single one of them goes to great length to explain the science behind it. And it completely refutes the idea of evolution. It completely refutes the idea of that you have been presented as being fact. When in
You
fact,
can watch it on.
when in fact those people that are teaching you this are not teaching you the truth. They're teaching you their religion.
Yeah.
Their religion that discounts God. Science does not need God. Science has itself. That's like,
It's
you know,
free on Tubi.
thank you.
Oh, good.
Is Genesis History 2017.
Yes, they're making another a follow up to that. I don't know if that's gotten along yet, but it's coming. All right. It is
Spring 2023. It should be out any minute.
All right.
Very cool. Very
Thank
cool. In
you,
the meantime,
Rick.
do yourself a
Terry.
favor and watch that. It's a lot of it's dry, very technical. It's very dry, but I'll tell you what, you watch that and it's phenomenal. It's just excellent. You know, it's science doing what it's supposed to do, proving God. All right. So,
What's it called again? I'm so sorry. Is Genesis real?
no, is
History.
Genesis history?
History. Thank you very much.
It's
Yeah.
on Tubi, TUBI, free. You
Yes.
can download that or on your whatever.
Yeah.
And the
thank you,
opening of
Rick.
that, the
Thank you,
opening
baby.
few minutes of that are just going to blow you away. Seriously, just the
gosh.
beginning of that will just blow you away. You'll be like, whoa.
Thank you.
Okay. So, anybody comments, thoughts, ideas?
Carbon dating is fake too.
It is.
It is.
I think so. I
Yes,
think it's incorrect. I think it's inaccurate.
it is. It is fiction. So,
Yeah,
is
I've
there
always thought so.
any other comments, questions, ideas, thoughts before we close?
Did you know you need coal to run electric vehicles?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen, I'm going to ask you to be just a little quieter next time. All right. That's
Yeah, Karen, quit making so much noise.
you get so carried away sometimes. I'll tell you what, man. Okay, so let's close in prayer. Who would like to lead us out with a good prayer or with any prayer?
You can do it. Hi.
They talk too much.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you for bringing us together for this Bible study
Yes.
and having Rick lead us in the way you want us to be led. Please bless us as we go out from here and keep, I know you'll keep our prayers, but anyway, we're told to pray. So that's all I got. Thanks. Amen.
Jesus,
Amen.
thank you.
Thank you. That was
Terry,
nice.
Terry,
Thank you, Rick.
Very
What?
nice.
Terry, you do not talk too much.
I do. That's why it's like, shut up. No, you shut up. No,
But
you-
I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're bringing this up. You guys, this is your Bible study, you know? This
Stop
is yours.
recording.
Oh.
I'm not in this world. I'm not of this world. I'm just in this world, but it does
Right.
drive me crazy.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna stop the recording.
Oh, sorry. Thought it was already stopped.
No, my apologies. Hang on.